Welcome back to Boats Plus, presented by Boater USA. We are down here in sunny Florida at the Bluewater Sport Fishing Boats factory, and we're going to take you all through this factory and show you how they're built. This is Ken from Bluewater Sport Fishing Boats, and he's going to be the one taking us through the factory today.
Alright, so you guys came at a good time. We got a lot going on today. This is a 23T here. We're about to deck this, and I'll give you a quick shot of what it looks like inside the boat before we deck it, and then before you guys leave, we'll probably be at the point where we're ready to basically tech the liner and bond it to the hull, which is something that we don't really get on video a lot, so it'll be interesting for everyone to watch. So basically what makes our boats special is kind of the quality and care we put into them. We use Akusa stringer grid. A lot of other manufacturers are just using styrofoam and glassing over it. But the Akusa gives it a lot more strength and rigidity. It's a little more expensive, a little more time consuming to do it that way. But it's just something we choose to do, and it's what makes our boats run so well. The other thing you'll notice just by looking at this, everywhere under the hull, any open space, we use a two-part foam. That's all hand poured. That adds flotation. It's all really hard, so it locks the whole boat together, makes it even more strong. And it insulates every single fish box, so every box in this boat's gonna be able to hold ice for a day or longer. So on this 23T, it's a three-piece build. The first thing we do is we get all the boxes in. We get the tank in, we glass around the tank so no water can get down into the tank area to give it a longer lifespan. You can see the big coffin box up front, the area right behind that. That's going to be where the console goes down. And then you have your bilge here, and you guys should try and get a shot of all that wiring and plumbing and rigging just to see really how nice of a job we do and how much care and effort we put into getting everything perfect.
All right, Ken, so what's the first process in building the boat?
Yeah, so right now we're in our lamination shop. It's the heart and soul of every boat company. We've got a really great team, an experienced manager, and guys that have been here 10 plus years. So we basically, everything that we make comes into the shop as a fiberglass cloth and a barrel of resin, and we turn that into a boat. I'll kind of walk you quickly through the process. So the first step of any part, which is what you can see here, is spraying the gel coat. So these have all had their gel coat sprayed. These are all small parts. Those are boxes. And that part back there, that's a console, and then that's our anchor locker liner. The gel coat is kind of the protective shell of the part you're making. And then after you have the fiberglass down, you start building it up with, after you have the gel coat down, you start building it up with fiberglass. So we're working on our 25T hull right here. So you can see they're almost done with this hull. We're on the last layer of our lamination schedule. So this boat has 4 layers of fiberglass cloth on each hull side and overlaps in the bottom. So it's 8 layers thick on the bottom. So you're gonna have a hull about that thick. It's all hand laid. It takes a lot of skill to hand lay and get everything perfect when you do it by hand, but it really just adds to the character and the quality of the boat. There's not a lot of builders that can kind of maintain that quality while still doing everything hand laid. All right, so what the guys were just doing, which is really important on any hand-laid part, is rolling and brushing out all the air. When you're laying fiberglass, air can get trapped in between the different layers or against the gel coat. So it's really important that you get all the air out. That can lead to air voids, which can cause problems later. So it's one thing that we're extra careful on when we're building our boats.
And this is the coring of the boat. Can you explain what that's for and what that's doing?
Absolutely. So the coring adds bulk to the build. It's going to make the boat vibrate less, and it's basically a way to get the sides thicker without having to put layers and layers of fiberglass there. When we go to deck the boat, which you'll see over there, it's going to make the gap between the hull and the liner smaller and give it a better bond and make it a less hollow and more sturdy boat. And then the other thing that we do That's your transducer. That's going to be for an Airmar V275 transducer, and those are your high-speed pickups. Those are kind of molds within a mold. So basically, when we pop this out of the hull or out of the mold, you're going to have an indent in the hull, or we can just slide that transducer right in, and it's going to look really clean in the bilge, and it's going to be a perfect fit. We're not going to have to cut the hull open at any point. So I'm standing on our 2850 hull. We just pulled this one a couple days ago. So we're about to get started on the build and rigging and all of that. This is what it looks like when it comes out of the mold. You can see all the stringer grids. These are all designed, and we get them as a kit, so everything fits perfect. You'll have your fuel tank here. This boat's got 2 large wing tanks that fit in there. You got your bilge, obviously. Here's going to be an in-deck live well, and you have a giant coffin box up front. You can see it kind of with the stringers, how they're all tabbed in on the sides. It just makes it like a really sturdy boat. There's going to be 0 flex, and it's why we're known as having a good running boat. It's all the work we do, building it, getting the stringers set, all the extra layers of glass we put over it just to make it as strong as possible.
So this is the deck mold of the 2850 that they just pulled it off of. And over here, sitting on the ground, is the actual deck itself. Ken, can you talk a little bit about
Yeah, absolutely.
deck
So you guys just missed it, but we pulled this first thing in the morning. So this is going to be the deck liner mold for the 2850 that we're working on back here. What you can see now is kind of how the deck's going to lay out. This is obviously upside down. The gel-coated side is on the bottom. But you can see where all the hatches are going to lay out, where the console's going to sit, and all the access points to get to your tanks and rigging. So at this point, we've built the hull, we've built the liner deck, and we pulled both. So we're getting the hull prepped. We're doing some finish work on that. We're going to start rigging it. Then this will get flipped over and dropped on, and that's what we're going to show you on the 23T in a few minutes. All right, so you guys have kind of seen how the boat's together. A lot of that work gets done on the back line. We're not an assembly line, so we only have 2 real job definitions. We got the back line and the front line. Everyone in our shop is an experienced boat builder. We're not assembly line workers, so pretty much everyone can do most of the boat themselves if we had to. So we get everything rigged, and the boat gets decked together on the back line, and then we push it up to the front, and that's where all the final wiring gets done, all the upholstery, all the final finish work, and everything that kind of brings the whole boat together and makes it a finished boat. So I'll show you what we have going on. So this is our
blue stuff on the floor.
So this is a protective paint we put down. After the parts come off the mold, they're almost perfect, and this basically lets us know, this protects the deck while we're doing assembly work. And at the end, this all just peels right off, so it's really easy to work with. Keeps the boat nice and clean and protects everything. So when it leaves, it's just as perfect as when it came out of the mold.
They're working on the console.
Yeah, so right now we're basically finishing the wiring on this console. We try and do as much of the wiring as we can on the wiring bench over there. But once the deck comes down, really what we have left to do is connect all the wires from the back and all the wiring from the hardtop all together in the console and finish everything up. So
I want you to look in here. Look at how clean and well laid out this bilge area is in here. Easy to get to, very clean.
Yeah. Still a little dirty from construction, but it's laid out really nicely. And so on our boats, we try and do as much of the wiring off the boat as we can. So all the consoles and faces are wired in our console department. And then when they get put on the boat, all we really have left to do is connect everything. So this is our 25T. This is a cool Nardo gray color. And you can see everything's pre-wired for us. And we put it down, and we've got a great wiring guy, Ben, in there, who's kind of making all the final connections. So if you want to just watch your step when you come around. And this is the boat we're going to, not this exact boat, but we're going to be taking a 25T out on a sea trial in a little bit. All right, so we have Ben in here now finishing up the wiring. We take a lot of pride in that, and Ben always does a great job for us. You can see how everything's nicely laid out, easy to get to. All the wires are labeled, they're all easy to trace. So, you know, in 10 years, if you ever have a light or pump go out, you'll know exactly where to look for it. Ton of space in this console, it's all finished. And we got a nice breaker panel here that's custom to each boat with ACRs in it. So this is just really nice boat to own and to maintain.
So you were talking about a back line and a front line.
Yeah.
Y'all don't usually work as a continuously moving boat.
Yeah.
Explain that a little bit.
Absolutely. So like if you look at like a production boat company or someone who pumps out boats, they're basically an assembly line. They've got one guy, he installs a bilge pump, and he does boat from boat doing bilge pump. Everyone we have here is a real experienced boat builder. So we like to make sure they stay with the boat and put the whole boat together themselves so they know exactly what's going on. And when the next guy gets it, they know that it was done right. They don't have to worry about who installed this pump this time and was it a new guy or an old guy. Everyone we have here has been here a while. We have the parts come out of the glass shop, then we bring them back to the back line. That's where all the plumbing and rigging and most of the boat gets built on the back line. And then we're going to show you how we deck the boat. Once the boat's decked, then it gets pushed forward, and then it's just the final assembly, a little bit of wiring and the upholstery.
Out the door, onto the water.
And out the door. Wash and out the door.
So Ken just took us to the factory and showed us how the boats are built. And now we're here with Kelly, and she's going to tell us a little bit about the history of Bluewater.
So Bluewater was founded by Paul Skilowitz about 27 years ago. Paul initially came from a background of building sailboats. So this is actually a picture of one of the pilot house sailboats that he created. As you can see, it's still called Bluewater down here. It was 60 feet. He actually started building this out in Thailand and then ended up moving a factory over to the west coast of Florida by St. Pete. Out there, that's where Pete Rudell, our foreman, who's still with the company even today, started working with Paul, and we ended up developing center console sport fishing boats. Once Paul realized that, there's a little bit more money to be made in the center console world at that point. And actually, it's kind of interesting too because he bought the hull, and it's modeled after Formula hull, which a lot of the other sport fishing boat companies are too. Contender, that's why they all kind of have similar lines. Shapes. Yeah, exactly. So Paul and his wife, after being on the West Coast for maybe like 3 years, ended up moving over to this facility here in Fort Pierce. This is kind of like the Silicon Valley of boat builders. We got a lot of the big names right around the corner from us.
Maverick and all of them.
Yeah, Maverick, Contender, Pursuit. So we have a lot of really great talent in this area. We're super proud of our staff, and our guys are true tradesmen. Something that I think sets Bluewater apart from some of our neighbors is that we are really dedicated to the craft of boat building.
Not just pushing them out, get the actual craft of them.
Yes. So not just having an assembly line. All of our guys can truly put together a boat on their own if they needed to, and that's something that we're really proud of because I think that when it comes to building quality boats, there is a craft aspect to it.
Yeah.
I think I had a piece of our transom out here.
Yep.
Yeah, just to show you. I mean,
how thick
this is. This is actually part of the keel.
And if you could actually hold it, you could tell how hefty and well made this is right here. I mean,
there's tons of layers, and I mean, even just seeing, from my perspective,
see that right there.
The boats come in just barrels of resin and sheets of fiberglass, and they go out as boats. We're really proud to say that close to 99% of all Bluewaters are still on the water, even 20 plus years later.
Wow.
We have a lot of people who just stay within the brand. They start at a 21 or a 23. They get families. They get more into fishing, they move up to 25s and 28s, and then, the ones who are real successful go to 35.
Customers for life, that's what you want.
Exactly. Yeah, so, I mean, when it comes to keeping the brand going, Ken and I came on a couple of years ago, and he and I were also very passionate about boating. We actually really bonded with Karen and Paul over sailing ourselves because that was one of our favorite pastimes. We've chartered boats all over the world, and we were at a point in our lives where we had met Paul, and we had this really great opportunity to kind of move Bluewater into the next
generation.
The next generation, modernize certain things.
Yeah.
We've made a couple of just changes, like our upholstery, our our batteries, we've moved from the transom to the console, which is something that a lot of people wanted. We took the step out of the hull, out of the deck, which was another thing that people were kind of talking about. The 25 we went and made from a 2-piece to a 3-piece. So we've just been improving the brand ever since. Unfortunately, Paul passed away about a year ago, and as a result, it feels like it's our inherent duty to kind of keep the legacy of Bluewater alive, and we've really been trying hard to do that. So, if you guys ever see us out, come say hi to me and Ken. We really do put our whole heart and soul into this company, and we just love to see people enjoying our boats at the end of the day.
They're very well built boats. I mean, when Ken took us to the factory, like you said, everybody here is I'd say expert craftsmen in building boats, and that talking with y'all, y'all've got it going on for sure. What are the plans for Bluewater going forward a little bit? Like what's something? Where do you want to take it?
Yeah, we have some exciting stuff in the works right now. A couple different influencers that we're fortunate to be building boats for, and that's really exciting. But ideally, we want to stay a family-owned company that, again, is just really not cutting any kind of corners, always producing really, really solid boats. To me, I think having a good reputation is more important than anything else. I would rather build less boats with the highest quality than pump out 5,000 in a year.
Yeah.
Like it's just not what we're about. We're dedicated to the craft, and I want to keep that going.
Yeah.
And I know that Ken does too. And I think as we have consumers who are more educated now when it comes to doing their own research, going on The Whole Truth, going on Facebook groups, and kind of getting feedback from other boat owners or buyers, I think that now people are just more educated and looking for more information about boats, and maybe even a little bit more critical about what they're buying,
Yeah.
And so I think that there's a lot of opportunity for Bluewater to just kind of continue to be known as a good quality, solid boat,
Yep.
not crazy priced, still affordable to your middle class family. And that's what we want,
And y'all have so many custom options too that really you can adjust the boat whether you're a hardcore fisherman or if you need those family addition. Like maybe when you first start out, you're hardcore, then the family comes along, and now we need a little more seating, a little more family comfort. So.
Hey, listen, I'm not gonna lie. Like getting the forward bow seating was one of my very first, something that I knew that we needed.
Yeah.
Because there were plenty of times where we were at a boat show and the wife was with the husband, and she's just like, but babe, where am I gonna sit? And fortunately, not only is the Bluewater bow seating very comfortable, but it's also comfortable while you're moving.
Yeah.
Which I can't say that about a lot of bow seats on boats these days.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the worst place to sit when you want to ride. You stand up and then you sit there when you get there. But
and most of the
I'm sure we'll see that when we go out on our sea trials.
Hey, listen, the forward console seat, the bow seat, that's my spot. I prefer it to I totally prefer it to the back, even while you're running, even when it's choppy out there. You stay nice, comfortable, dry above all else. So you're in for a treat. You'll like it. I know you'll like it.
Well, Kelly, I appreciate you sitting down with us and tell us a little bit about the history of Bluewater. So y'all be sure to check them out when y'all are looking for your next boat. They've got a ton of options that you can choose from when building your boat. Great people to come down and see them, and
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
Hope you all enjoyed this walkthrough of the Bluewater Sport Fishing Boats factory. Learned a little bit of history. Special thanks to Ken and Kelly from Bluewater for showing us around and teaching us about Bluewater. Again, they are located in the Fort Pierce, Florida area. Be sure to check them out if you're in the market for a brand new boat. Like and comment down below. Be sure to subscribe to our social media channels. Check out Boater USA for your next boat, and we'll see you next time.